So some essential terminology for this course are going to be hack value. It is a notion among hackers that something is worth doing or it's interesting. So people will hack, attack, and crack just because it's interesting, not because they want to make money off of it, not because they want to make some kind of a political gain. Just because it's interesting, they'll do it. We have the concept of a vulnerability, which is the existence of a weakness, a design or implementation error that can lead to an unexpected event compromising the security of the system. So you make one little mistake and then someone out there will be poking around at every little thing looking for a problem. For example, if someone left off a default case statement off of a switch statement in C or C++, if I left off that last catch-all, then that could be a problem. That can be used to exploit machines and software. So we have this concept of an exploit, which is a breach of an IT security or an IT system security through vulnerabilities. So exploitation of a vulnerability means I take advantage of the vulnerability. I actually can compromise the system. Not all vulnerabilities are exploitable. Okay, so not all vulnerabilities are exploitable. That is an important point to understand for real life. I don't know that you'll see that on, actually I think it is a test question too. Are all vulnerabilities exploitable? No, they are not. So a payload is a part of an exploit code that performs the intended malicious action, such as destroying, creating backdoors, and hijacking computers. So the payload is not the thing that exploited your system. The payload is what they're trying to drop on the system after it's been exploited, right? So we have a vulnerability. We have an exploit that takes care of that, or exploits that takes advantage of the vulnerability, and then it will drop a payload on the machine to try to get it to run. And that's the actual thing that will talk to the hacker and say, hey, I'm installed. What would you want me to do today? What would you like to do today? And then we have a zero-day attack, which is usually spelled with a 0 DAY. And it's an attack that exploits computers' application vulnerabilities before the software developer releases a patch for the vulnerability. So there's 0 days that we've known about it since a patch was released. That's where the name comes from. So a 0-day attack is just, I just discovered something today, and I have not told the manufacturer about it. So the manufacturer may or may not know. But the point about a 0-day, the distinction is that there's no patch available for that 0-day attack. So if you hear about an O-day or a 0-day, then you're like, oh no, what do we do? So there's other ways to mitigate the problem. You need to understand how the attack works. You go and do your research, and then you figure out how can you mitigate it since you don't have a patch. Maybe you patch it yourself. Maybe you have your security appliance look at, hey, here's the signature for that 0-day attack. Let's go ahead and kill this connection. So it could be as simple as that. So 0 days don't have to be the end of the world once you know about them. But it takes the manufacturer sometimes a little bit of time to put out a fix for a patch for them. So daisy chaining. It involves gaining access to one network and or computer and then using the same information to gain access to multiple networks and computers that contain desirable information. So gaining access to one or more networks and or computers and then using the same information to gain access. So you just go from one to the other to the other. So you can do it from here, boom, 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 or you can do it along the way, boom, 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 right? So you can pivot from one computer to the next down the way. So you're daisy chaining. Doxing, publishing personally identifiable information about an individual collected from publicly available databases and social media. So doxing is just going out and collecting a bunch of information on a target and then publishing it somewhere. So that's all it is. So it might be at a paste bin, it might be an encrypted paste or something like that. So they're publishing it to their team or a team they may want to work on, something like that. A bot is a software application that can be controlled remotely to execute or automate predefined tasks. So we have a bot and then we have a botnet, right? So that's a network of bots. So a bot is just a program that just sits and listens and does what it's told to do. So we have some elements of information security. Information security is a state of a well-being of information and infrastructure in which the possibility of theft, tampering, and disruption of information and services is kept low or tolerable. So we have confidentiality, integrity, availability, authenticity. So we have that, and we also have non-repudiation. So these are a bunch of key concepts. So we have the CIA triad in here, which you should have heard about already from Security Plus. So confidentiality, integrity, and availability. Let's go over them again just to refresh your memory. So confidentiality is the assurance that the information is accessible only to the authorized, only to those authorized to have access. And then integrity is the trustworthiness of the data. Has it been tampered with? Availability, is it up? Can I access it from my remote connection? And is it authentic? The authenticity refers to the characteristics of communication, document, or data ensures the quality of being genuine. So is it authentic? Has it been tampered with? So that goes back to integrity, right? Is it the same as it was when it was published? And is it authentic? Is it real in the first place? And then a guarantee, non-repudiation is a guarantee that the sender of the message cannot later deny having sent the message, and that the recipient cannot deny having received the message. So we have non-repudiation. So we know that these two communicated. In the case of espionage of some sort, whether it's corporate or governmental, that kind of thing, nation state actors, we can prove that they were communicating in some fashion. It could also be that, you sent this document, you received this document, that kind of thing. Non-repudiation is usually accomplished through the PKI infrastructure, the public key infrastructure.